When my wife calmly told me she was going out with someone else that night, I didn't argue, shout, or even blink. I just reached under the table, placed a thick envelope between us, and watched the color drain from her face. She thought she was in control of the night. She didn't realize I'd been preparing for this moment longer than she'd been lying. My name is Caleb Mercer. I'm 34, live just outside Charlotte, North Carolina, and until recently, I believed I understood the woman I married. I'm not the dramatic type. I don't raise my voice. I don't slam doors. I don't argue unless I have facts. I'm the kind of man who wakes up before his alarm, makes coffee the same way every morning, and folds his laundry as soon as it's out of the dryer. Leora always said she loved that about me, my consistency. She said it made her feel safe, stable, grounded. Our home sits in a quiet cul-de-sac where dogs bark in predictable intervals and neighbors wave at each other out of habit. From the outside, we looked like the couple who'd figured life out early. 2 good jobs, 2 cars, no kids yet, a neat house with trimmed hedges. People envy that kind of normal. Normal is a fragile illusion. I'd felt something shift months before she ever spoke the words that split our marriage open. But I didn't confront it. I watched. I waited. I took notes, not literally at first, but mentally. Little details that didn't match the woman I knew. The woman I thought I knew. By the time she finally revealed herself, the man she expected me to be, the confused, heartbroken, blindsided husband, no longer existed. I'd already buried him. I didn't grow up in chaos. My parents were strict but fair. They taught me to keep my promises, pay attention to details, and treat people with respect. I carried those habits into adulthood, into my work, and into my marriage. I'm an operations analyst for a distribution company. My brain likes systems, patterns, routines. Leora, on the other hand, thrives in chaos. She's an extrovert, a marketing coordinator who's always surrounded by bright colors, loud conversations, spontaneous ideas. Where I prefer a quiet evening at home, she enjoys late-night brainstorming sessions and after-work drinks with coworkers. Opposites attract, at least in the beginning. For the first few years, I felt lucky to have her. She brought life into rooms I would have walked through silently. She'd drag me out for late-night milkshakes or impromptu drives. She'd dance while brushing her teeth. She'd leave me tiny notes on sticky pads. "You're my steady place. Thank you for being you." I reciprocated in my own way. I cooked dinner whenever she worked late, because she'd come home exhausted. I handled repairs around the house, things she never even noticed breaking. I left notes too, encouraging ones, soft ones, ones that reminded her she mattered. I never shouted. I never belittled. I never made her feel unsafe or unsure. That's who I was. And maybe that's part of why she thought she could lie to me so easily. People mistake calm for blindness, quiet for weak, observant for oblivious. But I saw everything. The first red flag blew in on a Tuesday, her phone lighting up with a number she swiped away so fast her hand shook. She laughed it off, saying it was just one of the guys from work asking about a deadline. Except her deadlines were never on Tuesdays. Then came the late-night outings, team drinks, extended brainstorming, end-of-quarter push, all conveniently popping up after she joined a new marketing project led by a man named Saren Cade. She said his name with a certain brightness the first time, nothing dramatic, nothing obvious, but enough that it echoed in my memory afterward. Then came the scent, a new perfume I hadn't bought her. Sweet, floral, lingering on her clothes long after midnight. A scent she never wore for me. Then, the phone behavior. Password changes. App deletions. Notifications turned off. She carried her phone everywhere in the house, even to shower. At first, I tried to tell myself it was stress at work. Burnout. A rough season. Life can get muddled. Feelings can drift. Maybe she needed space. But people in healthy relationships don't hide like that. So I paid attention. Quietly. Calmly. Methodically. The way a man does when he refuses to be made a fool. It happened on a Thursday evening. Funny how betrayals like to arrive toward the end of the week, when people are worn down and less guarded. We were eating dinner, roasted chicken I'd made, with garlic mashed potatoes she loved. The television was off. The house was quiet except for the clink of silverware. Leora waited until I'd taken a sip of water before she said it. "Caleb, I'm going out with someone else tonight. Don't wait up." Just like that. No tremble in her voice. No remorse. No hesitation. She said it like she was announcing she was stopping by the store for milk. My fork paused in mid-air. I set it down gently. A warmth rose in my chest. Not anger, not heartbreak. Recognition. Confirmation. The final puzzle piece sliding into place. She braced herself, expecting an explosion. Tears. Pleading. Maybe threats. She prepared for the wrong version of me. I wiped my mouth with a napkin, placed it neatly on the table, and said, "That's fine." The room went still. Her eyebrows knit together. She wasn't prepared for calm. But I wasn't finished. I reached under my chair, pulled out the thick envelope I had placed there before dinner, and set it gently between us. "Before you leave," I said, "sit down." Her eyes flicked to the envelope. She didn't touch it. She didn't breathe. That was when her facade cracked. Inside, my heart hammered. Months of suspicion. Weeks of quiet planning. Hours of gathering data. And now the moment was here. But on the outside, I was steady. She sat slowly, the chair legs scraping lightly against the hardwood. What is that?" she asked. "A conversation piece," I said. "Go ahead." She didn't move. Her throat bobbed. Her eyes flickered with something raw. Fear? Shame? Maybe realization that she had underestimated me. I leaned back, folding my hands. "It's interesting," I said, "how people think they're smarter when they're simply hiding." She flinched. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't accuse. I didn't crumble. I was ice. Controlled. Patient. And that scared her more than any confrontation could have. "Caleb, this isn't what you think." I cut her off with a single quiet sentence. Seren Cade. The name detonated inside her skull. She froze. Her pupils widened. Her lips parted. She said nothing, but her silence said everything. "I don't know what you think you're doing," she began. "You're not very good at hiding things," I said softly. Her breathing quickened. She reached for the envelope with trembling hands but didn't open it. I watched her silently. I had a choice right there: explode or maintain composure. Beg or walk away. But I already knew this wasn't a salvage mission. There was no future to save. There was only truth to expose. So I took a slow breath, met her eyes, and said the quietest, coldest line of my life. "Open it." She didn't. And that's when her world started cracking. Leora didn't open the envelope right away. She pressed her fingers against it like it might burn her. The dining room was still, so still that I could hear the faint hum of the refrigerator in the kitchen. I let the silence breathe. Sometimes silence tells the truth faster than shouting ever could. Finally, she whispered, "Caleb, what is this?" "A summary," I replied, "of things you thought I didn't notice." She swallowed hard. "You're scaring me." "I'm not trying to scare you," I said softly. "I'm trying to show you I'm done being lied to." She hesitated a moment longer, then slid a finger under the flap. A few photos and printed screenshots spilled across the table like scattered playing cards. Her eyes flicked downward and froze. The first page showed two names side by side. Seren Cade. Leora Mercer. Both linked through a hidden messaging app, not one people normally use for work. Her breath hitched. Where did you get this?" I shrugged. "You'd be amazed how much people reveal when they assume the person closest to them isn't paying attention." She shook her head slowly, like she could undo reality if she denied it long enough. "Caleb, this isn't what it looks like. Seren and we only talked about work." "Don't," I said. "One word. Not loud. Not angry. Just final. I know who he is. I know how long this has been going on. I know the nights you said you were at the office but weren't. I know which hotels he prefers. I know what he calls you." Her mouth hung open. She stared at me like I had transformed into someone else entirely. Maybe I had. The next set of pages showed screenshots, cropped, time-stamped, undeniable. I hadn't included anything explicit. I didn't need to. Their tone alone betrayed them. Her messages. I can sneak away after 8. Caleb won't ask questions. He never does. I need tonight. I need you. His messages. A hotel is booked. I'll have you home before he notices. You deserve someone who sees you. Leora stared in horror. These aren't real, she whispered, but even she didn't believe it. They're backed up, I said calmly. From your cloud account. Her head jerked up. You went into my cloud. No. You forgot you shared your login with me years ago. You just never cared enough to change it. I let that sink in. She covered her mouth with shaking hands as tears started gathering. Not grief, panic, fear. The sharp realization that the life she'd built inside her lies had just been ripped out from under her. I can explain. No, I said quietly. You can't. But the real damage hadn't even begun. I reached for my tablet, its screen already lit, and slid it toward her. A paused video waited on the screen. I think you should watch this. What is it? She whispered. You're Saren. Talking to someone he shouldn't have been talking to. She hesitated, then pressed play with trembling fingers. It was grainy footage, audio recorded in a parking deck. Saren's voice was clear, arrogant, careless. Married women are easier, he said. They're desperate. Lonely. They fall harder, and they keep quiet. Leora's hand flew to her chest. You just have to make them feel seen for 5 minutes, Saren continued. They do the rest. And they're great practice before finding someone worth keeping. She dropped the tablet like it burned her. It clattered against the table's edge before settling. She stared at me, horrified, humiliated, shaking like a leaf. That's not him. That's not, her voice cracked. The denial was gone. Only devastation remained. That recording, I said calmly, was taken 6 days ago. Her world tilted. She gripped the table to steady herself. I could have stopped there. But this wasn't the part where mercy made sense. Not anymore. I reached for one last paper in the envelope, my final card, and placed it gently in front of her. A formal letter. Addressed to the Human Resources Director at her company. Time-stamped for 8:14 a.m. that morning. Her eyes skimmed it quickly and widened. Caleb, what did you do? I submitted a report, I said. A complete one. Screenshots, recordings, dates, times. Everything they need to start an ethics investigation. No, Caleb, you can't. You can't do that. Her voice was rising in pitch, cracking, dissolving. They already acknowledged receipt. You'll get a call tomorrow morning. She stumbled back from the table like the paper carried a disease. Why? She choked out. Why would you do this to me? I leaned forward, folding my hands. You did this to yourself. She paced the dining room like a trapped animal, hands in her hair, tears streaking down her face. She kept whispering the same word. No. Reality hit her in waves. Her job, her pride, was slipping away. Her affair partner wasn't her soulmate. He was a predator. Her marriage wasn't salvageable. Her lies were exposed. She finally sank into a chair, staring at nothing. Caleb, she whispered, please, we can fix this. We. I repeated quietly. She nodded desperately. Yes, we can go to counseling. I can end things with him. I'll block him right now. I'll delete everything. I'll do anything. I tilted my head. Why would I want to fix something you broke intentionally? She sobbed harder. I made a mistake. No, I said. A mistake is forgetting an anniversary or burning dinner. You made choices. Daily. Repeatedly. With full awareness. Her sobbing intensified. I didn't console her. Not because I wanted to be cruel, because it wasn't my place anymore. She wasn't my responsibility anymore. And she knew it. I stood slowly. Caleb, wait, she begged. Please. Please don't leave. Please don't do this. I looked at her with the kind of calm I didn't know I was capable of. I'm not angry, I said. You can't negotiate with someone who's angry. But you also can't negotiate with someone who's finished. Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. I'm done, Leora. She shook her head so violently her hair whipped across her face. No. No, Caleb. You can't walk away. I love you. I didn't laugh. But internally, the absurdity struck me like a cold slap. You loved the version of me who didn't know, I said. But I do know. And I can't unknow it. She collapsed onto her knees. Literally. Fell. To the floor. Hands pressed together like she was praying to me. Please, she whispered. Don't destroy me. I crouched to her level, looked her in the eyes, and told the truth she needed to hear. Leora, I'm not destroying you. I'm just refusing to protect you from the consequences you created. Her face crumpled. That was the moment she realized the marriage was already dead. And I wasn't there to resuscitate it. I stood again and placed a final document beside her, different from the evidence. Cleaner. Thinner. Straight to the point. A separation notice. Dated. Signed. Ready. She stared at it like it was a coffin. You can't. I can, I said. And I already have. Her hands trembled violently. What happens now? She whispered. I move out tonight, I said. You'll stay here until HR contacts you tomorrow. Then, we'll proceed with the legal side. Quietly, if you cooperate. Publicly, if you do not. That's not fair, she cried. It's exactly fair, I replied. Then I delivered the line that broke her. You just never expected fairness to apply to you. She lowered her head, sobbing so hard her shoulders shook. I walked to the hallway to grab my jacket. My keys. My bag, packed earlier that afternoon. She saw it. Her sob turned into a gasp. You planned this? Yes, I said simply. How long have you known? A while. She wiped her face with shaking hands, mascara smearing. Why didn't you say something? Because confrontation gives people time to hide evidence, I said. And I didn't want you to hide anything. She stared at me with a look I'll never forget. A mix of devastation and a new, painful understanding of exactly who she had underestimated. I walked back into the dining room, jacket over my arm, bag slung across my shoulder. Leora was still kneeling on the floor, her hands trembling as she clutched the separation notice like it was a death sentence. Her voice cracked when she spoke. Caleb, please don't leave. We can talk about this. We can fix this. I'll do anything, just don't walk out that door. I didn't respond immediately. I let her panic fill the room. Let her sit in the silence she once weaponized. Finally, I stepped toward the table again. Stand up, I said quietly. She hesitated, then pulled herself shakily to her feet. Her makeup was streaked, her eyes red and swollen, her breathing uneven. Sit, I said, pointing at her chair. She obeyed this time without arguing. She still didn't understand that obedience couldn't undo the consequences she'd created. Leora was still crying when I reached into my bag again, this time pulling out my phone instead of the tablet. I'm not going to show you another video, I said. You already know what he is. She looked confused, hopeful even, like she thought maybe I was done. I wasn't. I'm going to show you the part you never realized. The part that hurts more than anything I could expose. I slid the phone toward her. On the screen was a single screenshot. One message. Sent earlier that morning. From Saren. To another coworker. HR reached out. Need to cut ties with Leora immediately. She's on her own. Her entire body went still. She didn't blink. Didn't breathe. Didn't even cry. Just froze. Because she finally saw it. He dropped her the second things got inconvenient. Not when Caleb confronted her. Not when evidence surfaced. But hours earlier, before she ever confessed. He knew, she whispered. Yes. And he just left. Yes. She pressed a trembling hand against her lips. Did he even try to reach me? No. He blocked you around 3 p.m. Her face shattered. Not because of me. Because the man she threw everything away for had discarded her before she even finished building the lie. She started shaking again. "I'm such an idiot," she whispered. I didn't correct her. She looked at me, eyes begging for something, anger, comfort, anything. I gave her the truth instead. He didn't love you. He didn't even like you. You were just convenient. She broke. Quietly. Slowly. Completely. She reached for my hand. I pulled it away. "Please," she begged. "Caleb, I'm begging you. I made a mistake. I can fix this. I can go to HR myself. I can end things with Saren. I can delete everything. I can go to therapy. I'll do whatever you need me to." "You can't fix this," I said quietly. "Why?" "Because I'm not staying," I said. "There is no we to fix." She covered her face, sobbing. "Caleb, please don't do this. I'll lose everything." "Then you should have valued something." She froze. It was silent for a long moment. Then she whispered the question that sealed her fate. "Do you still love me?" I looked at her, really looked at her, for the first time that night. The answer came out colder than I intended, but truer than anything I'd said in years. "I don't even know who you are." She crumpled at those words. Realization, deep, suffocating, irreversible, washed over her face. She understood that this wasn't a fight between spouses. This was the execution of consequences. She reached for the tablet again, as if maybe she'd misheard the recording. As if replaying the moment could undo what she had done. I picked up the tablet first. "And one more thing," I said. She looked up, helpless and hopeful. I delivered the line with calm precision. "Your company already received all of this. They'll call you tomorrow morning." It was like watching someone get struck by lightning in slow motion. She blinked. Twice. 3 times. Then her breath hitched. Then a sound came from her throat, half gasp, half sob, as her world imploded. Her hands shook uncontrollably. She reached for the edge of the table to steady herself, but missed. She stumbled backward into the wall, sliding down until she sat on the floor again. "No, no. Caleb, please, you can't. I'll lose my job. They'll fire me." "Yes," I said. "That's what happens when you mix personal affairs with professional ethics violations." "I didn't violate anything," she cried. "I didn't do anything wrong at work. You did something wrong everywhere else." She sobbed harder. She wasn't crying because she betrayed our marriage. She was crying because she got caught. She crawled toward me, literally, on her hands and knees. "Please," she whispered, grabbing at the leg of my jeans. "You're killing me. Caleb, please. I'll do anything. I'll change. Just please don't let them ruin my career." I gently pulled my leg away. "You're a grown woman, Leora," I said. "Your career is your responsibility, not mine." She sat there, shaking violently. "Please," she whispered again. "Please." But I had nothing left to give. No forgiveness. No comfort. No rescue. She had burned all of that. I stepped toward the doorway. "Where are you going?" she cried. "Away," I said simply. "For good." She scrambled to her feet, stumbling forward. "You can't leave. You can't just walk away. I already have." She pressed her fists against her temples. "Caleb, please, I'm begging, don't do this. Don't leave me alone tonight. Please." I looked at her one last time. Not with anger. Not with regret. Just clarity. "You were alone the moment you chose him." She froze. Her mouth parted. No sound emerged. That single sentence broke her more than the evidence, more than the HR report, more than the separation notice. Because it was the truth she had been running from. I walked toward the front door. Picked up my keys. Slipped on my shoes. Behind me, she cried out. "Caleb, stop." I didn't. Her footsteps stumbled after me. I opened the door. Cold night air rushed in. She grabbed my arm with both hands, shaking. Please. Please, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I peeled her hands off gently. I'm not leaving because you cheated, I said calmly. I'm leaving because you didn't care. She stopped speaking, stopped moving, just collapsed in the doorway, sobbing into her palms. I stepped outside and closed the door quietly behind me. It didn't slam. It didn't bang. It clicked. Soft, final, irreversible. And I walked to my car without looking back. Not once. Because I knew, if I did, I might see the woman I married. But she wasn't there anymore. I left the dining room after showing her the screenshot, the one that proved Seren had abandoned her earlier that afternoon, long before she confessed anything to me. She stayed kneeling on the floor, clutching the phone like it was a piece of burning metal she couldn't drop. When I stepped outside, the air was cool, sharp, clean. It felt like honesty. I walked to my car and drove away without looking back. By the time I reached the short-term rental I'd booked earlier in the week, my phone was buzzing non-stop. Calls, voicemails, messages, all from Leora. I didn't answer any of them. Instead, I placed my phone face down on the nightstand, sat on the edge of the bed, and let the silence finally enter my body. For the first time in months, I wasn't pretending not to know. I wasn't waiting for the truth. I wasn't doubting myself. I wasn't carrying her secret. I was free. The next morning, at 8:17 a.m., my phone vibrated with a single incoming text from her. They called. No context. No explanation. Just 2 words that carried the weight of everything she had built crashing down. I didn't respond. 10 minutes later, the flood began. I'm suspended. They want to see my chat logs. They know about the hotels. They said Seren blocked their attempts to contact him. I'm so scared. Please answer me. I didn't. Because nothing she said would change the reality. HR suspends first and investigates later. They separate involved parties. They protect the company above all else. And the man she threw herself toward had already disappeared. Leora's final text that morning said, I don't know what to do. 4 years, I would have rushed to fix that. I would have guided her, calmed her, protected her. But that version of me had died the moment she said she was going out with someone else. So I let the message sit unread. Unread, but not unseen. Around noon, her mother called me. The moment I answered, she was already mid-sentence. Caleb, what happened? Leora is hysterical. She said you left. She said her job is in danger. She said she made a mistake. Please talk to me. I kept my voice steady. She cheated, I said simply. With a coworker. 4 months. It's not my responsibility to protect her from the fallout. There was silence on the line. A long one. Then her mother whispered, Oh God! Caleb, I'm so sorry. Don't apologize for her decisions. You're right, she said. Her voice cracked. But please, don't shut her out completely. Not yet. She's falling apart. She should, I replied. Maybe it will teach her something. Are you coming home? No, I said. There is no home left. Another silence. Then her mother began crying, not dramatic, not loud. Quiet, resigned tears. She loved me. She trusted me. She believed in our marriage. But belief can't resurrect something that no longer breathes. Later in the afternoon, I received a call from an unfamiliar number. A professional voice greeted me. Mr. Mercer, this is HR from Northcrest Marketing. We're calling to confirm receipt of your ethics report. I kept my tone neutral. Yes, I confirm. We appreciate your cooperation. We cannot share details of our internal process, but we take matters of this nature seriously. I understand. We may need to reach out again if further clarification is required. No problem. Thank you for your time, Mr. Mercer. The call ended. I sat back in the chair, watching sunlight filter through the blinds. The call wasn't emotional. It wasn't dramatic. It was just official. Final. That's the thing about consequences. They don't shout. They don't scream. They arrive quietly, like paperwork. And they rewrite your life in permanent ink. By sunset, my phone pinged one last time. A long message. Desperate. Unfiltered. Caleb, I know you don't want to hear from me, but please. I've lost everything today. Saren blocked me. HR said they're considering termination. My supervisor won't even look at me. My coworkers know something is wrong. I feel sick. I can't eat. I can't breathe. Please, don't abandon me when I need you. I read it once. Then again. And one last time. Then I blocked her number. Because abandoning someone implies you were responsible for them. I wasn't anymore. 2 days later, I met with my attorney in a glass-walled office in uptown Charlotte. Her name was Attorney Elena Morris, a sharp woman with a tone that made you sit straighter. She skimmed the separation agreement I'd drafted myself. You did most of the work already, she said. Impressive. I've had time to think, I replied. She looked up at me. Are you sure there's no chance of reconciliation? None. You know this will devastate her financially. Yes. And emotionally. I know. You're comfortable with that? I took a breath. I'm comfortable with reality. She nodded once, firm and approving. We'll proceed. And with that, the divorce machinery began turning, slow, heavy, irreversible. She showed up at my rental a week later. I didn't invite her in. She looked thinner. Exhausted. Eyes swollen from days of crying. She clasped her hands in front of her like she was bracing for impact. Caleb, she whispered. Please talk to me. We don't have anything left to talk about. I'm losing my job, she said, tears welling up again. They suspended me indefinitely. They're reviewing my emails and messages. Everyone knows something happened. I can't sleep. I can't think. I'm scared. I'm so scared. I'm sorry you're going through that. She blinked, surprised at my tone. But I didn't cause it, I added. I just stopped shielding you from it. She looked away, shoulders shaking. Finally, she whispered, Do you hate me? No, I said truthfully. But I don't love you either. Not anymore. She pressed her lips together, nodding slowly, as if forcing herself to accept it. Is there, she swallowed hard, any part of you that wants to stay? No. A single tear slid down her cheek. She nodded again. Okay, she whispered. Okay. She turned to leave, then paused, and in a voice so soft it almost vanished in the wind, she said, I really thought he loved me. I answered her without cruelty, without softness, just truth. He didn't even respect you. She flinched. Then she walked away. I watched her go, knowing it was the last time her shadow would ever touch my life. 3 weeks later, I signed the final separation papers. 2 months later, the divorce was finalized. I moved into a new apartment closer to my job. I bought new furniture, new dishes, new sheets. Not to replace her, to remove her imprint. Friends asked if I was okay. I said yes. And I meant it. Sometimes peace looks like a smaller apartment and an empty ring finger. Sometimes healing looks like silence after months of pretending not to see the truth. Sometimes closure is not forgiveness. It's distance. On the morning the divorce became official, I stood on my balcony overlooking Charlotte, watching the sunrise wash the city in gold. I held my ring in my palm, cold metal, a symbol of who I used to be. Then I set it down on the rail, turned, and walked back inside. I didn't look back. Because some things aren't meant to be carried into the future. If you've ever been blindsided by someone you trusted, hit subscribe. These stories remind us why silence can be the most powerful response.